What's up, guys? Today's Sunday. It's gym time. Just took a caffeine pill. It's basically what I really only use for in terms of pre-workout. Good clean energy, doesn't give me any of the jitters. Pre-workouts are good, but a lot of them have a lot of crazy ingredients which give me a ton of anxiety, like yohimbine and all that other crazy shit. So I pretty much just like caffeine. I take creatine, caffeine, and every now and then I'll use a BCAA supplement, usually when I'm in a cutting phase or I'm basically trying to maintain a lower body fat, which I currently am, so I am taking a BCAA supplement. So let's go do this. Hamstring hypertrophy. It's the beginning of a new meso block for hamstring hypertrophy. I just deloaded because my my lower back was feeling pretty beat up, which your lower back will start to feel beat up if you're doing a lot of hip hinging, whether it's Romanian deadlift, conventional deadlift, stiff-legged deadlift. Over time, if you keep overloading it, your lower back will get beat up. In particular, your SI joint. It'll start to get inflamed a little bit. But I deloaded, everything feels pretty good. And let's get this going. Thanks for joining me again, guys. Back in my most latest training vlog. I believe this is training vlog number 7. I'm going to be talking a lot about the importance of the hamstrings, the role they play in, things like injury prevention, stability of the knee joint, and just overall aesthetics when it comes to, competitive bodybuilding. My hamstring movement of choice right now that I'm doing is the Romanian deadlift. For a while, I was sticking to the stiff-legged deadlift, which I do really like. I think it's better in terms of just, explosiveness and just building your strength off the floor. And it obviously has more carryover to things like the conventional deadlift and pulling just from a dead stop in general. But for overall hypertrophy, from what I've seen, again, in my experience, the Romanian deadlift just seems to really be doing it for me. And you guys can just see it right here in this footage. Like, I've been doing the Romanian deadlift for about 3 meso-cycles, which is, meso-cycles anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. And I have seen the most growth in my hamstrings than I ever have. So today was kind of just like my, an overload, not an overloading day. This was, I believe it's meso-cycle 3, week 1. So this was 4 sets of 8 with, let me see, 225, 35, 250 pounds on the bar with 4 sets of 8 reps. So I had 4 sets of 8 reps, so about 2.5 minute rest, 2.5 to 3 minute rest over here. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving this movement. I think it really makes a difference in hamstrings and is going to be pretty much my go-to from now on when I'm really focusing on maximum hamstring hypertrophy. Just really focus on pushing those hips back until you feel that deep stretch, and then, reverse the motion and, drive those hips right into the bar. I was originally squatting on this day as well, followed right after those Romanian deadlifts, but I've noticed just 2 compound movements like that just beats my lower back and hips up too much. So I replaced it with the plate-loaded leg press just to really give my hips a rest, but still, get that volume in my quads. So I hit this right here. This was about 4 sets of anywhere from 12 to 15 reps. Best tip I can give you guys on the leg press, even though it does seem pretty damn self-explanatory, is create some intra-abdominal pressure before each rep and let the weight actually sink all the way down to your quads, sink all the way down to your abs, but don't let your pelvis roll under your hips. Then I just threw in the leg curls. This is going to surprise you guys, but I don't particularly like the leg curl. I threw it in just for extra hamstring hypertrophy. I just don't like any movement that puts direct torque on the knee joint, but I do it every now and then. It's not a primary. I just happen to throw it in. Calf raises, been doing these at a high frequency pretty much at the end of every single workout. Doing accumulation work. Right now I've got 160 pounds on there, and I was hitting it for 6 sets of 5 reps. I believe 6 sets of 5 reps. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the calves have definitely been coming up. Absolutely been coming up, and that's absolutely been a weak point for me. If there's a weak point on my physique, it's definitely 2 things. It's the calves, in my opinion, and not in my opinion, anyone's opinion who looks at me from an aesthetic standpoint, and my upper chest. So I want to bring those 2 things up. Everything else overall I don't think is really that much of an issue. But even on these, if you look at my hamstrings, they look like they're a separate muscle from my quads, like significantly. Especially from that other angle that you just saw previously, and I'm definitely happy about that. guys? Today is Thursday morning. It is the 11th of May. It's May 11th. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week so far. As you guys probably guessed in my recent video, my dad passed away Saturday morning, 5:31 a.m. Boston Medical Center. It's been very difficult last few days for me and my family. Surprisingly enough, I've been able to take some good out of it, you know. I've been able to see the positive, you know, and I'm not gonna get all cliche on you guys and tell you I see the world in a whole new light, but I absolutely do have an altered perspective in terms of just being more efficient with my time and not taking things for granted. One thing I really want to do with you guys is be able to share a lot more and go on a lot more in depth with the details. I want to go in a lot more depth with you guys about the details and my, you know, my perspective and passion on bodybuilding. A good amount of you who do watch my channel are more than likely interested in that and find it appealing because it's definitely a passion of mine and it could quite possibly be a passion of yours. I do have plans to compete this year, and I'm gonna document just like I did at the start of my previous prep in August, which I didn't, by the way, stop. I just put it on pause. Conveniently enough, the biggest natural bodybuilding show of the year, WNBF WORLDS, including the amateur pro qualifying division as well, and it just so happens to be over here in Boston. I got my eye on that show, you know. As you saw in pictures, and probably just from my training footage, I'm pretty lean right now. I'm not far off from stage weight. I'm gonna share every detail of that with you guys, every step of the way, you know. I want you guys to dive into the world of the pros and the cons of a contest prep, the struggles and the grind of a natural bodybuilder. I want you guys to understand and be able to identify with how one maintains a sense of peace when his mind or her mind is in a state of chaos. I believe that that's the core of what competitive bodybuilding comes down to. Because when things get difficult, you know, during a time of struggle, it's hard to come to terms with the fact that something is difficult. It's hard to accept it, you know? And it's about finding a way to accept it, live with it, embrace it, you know, and become the best version of yourself. So I hope you guys are having an awesome week. Just crush it. Go out there and just fucking kill it. You know, be honest with yourself. Find out who you are. Identify with who you are, you know, and take that all the way. I'll see you guys.